I will introduce our team who's here to help us with the Student Research Symposia. And I just saw Alicia turn on her camera, so that's awesome. Just a quick intro while we're waiting, and also for those of you that don't know us, or this is your first time attending the Student Research Symposia, we wish that it was in person and we were meeting you in person, but that is not going to happen this time. We will be adding links to the chat, and we are going to just hopefully be done before an hour. So it'll be a really quick meeting, but we are here for your questions as well. So my name is Jennifer Bourgeau, and I am the United States Country Coordinator. I also manage the North America Regional Office of the GLOW program. We have been hosting the Student Research Symposia since 2016. We have had, this is our second time doing it virtually, or a version of it virtually, once for COVID. We're really excited about the format this year. And now I will let Haley speak about who she is. I'm sure you've heard from her several times already. So Haley.
Hi, everyone. My name is Haley Wickline. I'm sure you're getting tired of my emails already. I'm the Assistant United States Country Coordinator and help manage the Student Research Symposia along with Jen and Alicia and Jody on our team here. Alicia, do you want to introduce yourself?
Sure do. I'm Alicia Carlson. I do the outreach and communications for the United States Globe office. On to Jody.
Hi, everyone. I'm Jody Haney. For the U.S. office, I'm a part-time consultant, and I work on trainer and mentor trainer that process, and then also on partner sustainability. And my other side of I have a Globe partnership, and so I've been a part of the SRS for a number of years now. So happy to be here.
All right, great. And so we thought we'd do this orientation because this is a little bit different. We are really excited about what we have planned for you, though. We had to, come up and pivot with in a very short period of time, but I think we have a huge opportunity, and we're really excited to share this new format with you. So we have an Educator Google folder, and that has a lot of different things that you'll be referencing in the next couple weeks as you prepare to upload your students' projects or help them to upload them and to just get ready for the event. So Haley, if you could go to the next slide. All right, so the basics of this, where we have an in-person student research symposia, you know that your students would create a poster, and then they would present that poster to a STEM professional, and actually more along the lines of 3 STEM professionals. This is going to be a little bit different in that what we would like you to do is work with your students to create a presentation. We do have a template that's a PowerPoint that they can do, and they can fill out that PowerPoint, but they can also be more creative with their presentations. We are asking you to record that and upload it in advance, just so if we have internet issues, or if your students get nervous and they're talking longer than they should be, it's all pre-recorded. They can, go back and redo and things like that if they need to. After we're going to play the presentations, and then they're going to have an opportunity to discuss their research with the scientists and the other students in their session. So they are going to have about 3 or 4 of different presentations in their session. And we also are going to have a part where they learn about different STEM careers. We also want them to have lots of fun. Because professional science conferences are fun versus a science fair where, well, okay, maybe some of them have fun at science fairs, but we're taking away that competition feel, and we really want to go with students are there to discuss their research. We're all there in the same place to advance our learning together. So that is what happens during a professional learning conference, professional science conference. Students are not going to be judged. However, they will get feedback. So there's still going to be that element where they'll have a discussion about a science topic in general, and then they will get some feedback. And then I think I'm done. So Haley, unless I forgot something.
Oh, that's great.
right.
Okay, I'm gonna spend a little bit of time just going over some of the logistics, and then maybe at the end we'll do questions. Does that make sense? So I'm sure you're all wondering about the schedule and what day you are presenting, and we are working on that right now. We're trying to coordinate the grade levels and the spheres, kind of the type of research students are doing, and scheduling constraints that teachers have sent me. So we have that almost finished, and we're hoping to share that early next week so that you'll know your presentation day or days that your students will be presenting specifically, and also a little bit more firmer kind of what's happening at other points in the schedule. But on each day, we will have either our opening and closing remarks or a career panel where we'll have STEM professionals answering questions and talking a little bit about their career path. And then we will have student presentations, like Jen said, that will be when we play the videos, hopefully have a little bit of interactive pieces in between, and then have some discussion time. And that will be, again, with a STEM professional and their peers from their session, those 3 or 4 projects. You are welcome to attend as many sessions as you'd like. You can come to all the career panels. You can pick one that works for your schedule or that your students are interested in. Really, our only expectation is to make sure you're there on that day that you're presenting and part of the discussions. So again, we'll hopefully be sharing our specific kind of final schedule early next week. Jen already talked a little bit about the review process. So we'll have this discussion session where the STEM professional will engage with the projects. We will also, the STEM professional will also provide some written feedback. So they'll be reviewing the presentations and providing a written review, and we'll share that with you so you can share that with your students. And then a big part of the SRS that we really value a lot is the peer review and having students practice reviewing each other's presentations and providing feedback that way. So we will have some peer review paper forms that they'll be able to use during the video presentations to kind of take notes on their thoughts, the things that really stood out to them, questions they have, and we'll have some opportunities for them to share that during the sessions. We do have a slideshow about peer review. I know this is, for some students, this is new. So we have it's a pretty short slideshow, and Alicia also actually recorded it, and we posted it to YouTube. So you can share it with your students. You can share the recording with your students. And we will, all of these links, most of the links are in your folder, and I'll do a follow-up email after this with our, some of these specific links that aren't right in your folder. The video submission process, Tracy, I see you've raised your hand. Go for it.
Yeah, I wanted to ask you a question before you before you went away. On the peer review piece, are you expecting the students to write something down on paper or electronically? What's your
Yeah.
thought on that?
So our thinking right now is we're not expecting every student to have their own device they're ready to type into in the moment. So that's why we're providing paper copies of the form, as sort of seeing it as a way to collect their thoughts about what they're watching as they're watching these videos. And then we're working on a way to have opportunities for them to share, and this could either be sharing it just depends on your situation. If you're there with one computer, you know, broadcasting it on the board, then you'd kind of collectively be sharing some of your feedback or questions. If every student has a device, they might be able to individually share. So we're still trying to think about how to make that work because we know everyone's in different situations. We're going to, at the end, talk a little bit about what virtual tools your school can use because we know some schools have restrictions on different tools. So we want to get some feedback today to figure out exactly what that will look like. If that
Yeah.
makes sense.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. I could just see a conflict of a kid doing something electronically because then their eyes are away from the presentation, you know?
Yeah,
I'm like,
no, yeah. So
no.
that like sharing process will be in the discussion session,
Okay.
right? So that would be a time when they can, yeah, we'll figure out a way where either they can ask questions, you know, kind of raise a hand, ask a question from their class. Well, yeah, or use some of these tools where maybe the educator is typing thoughts.
You know, I'm sorry to keep going on this one, but you know how sometimes you have those webinars where you can only there's like a Q&A. Um, I'm not saying this right, but there's like a Q&A thing where if you have a question, you put it in
And
the
type it
Q&A,
in. Yeah,
different from the chat, right? It's a
right. Yeah,
Q&A
yeah.
thing. Both when the speakers are presenting and or when the students are presenting, it would definitely look different from our traditional peer review.
Mhm.
But it could be, you know, it could be here's 3 prompts, you know, that continually show on the Zoom during the presentation that their Q&A could be a response to those 3 prompts, like give me a strength, you know, kind of prompt.
Mhm.
You know,
Yeah.
something like
Yeah, no, I like that idea. And I see James is writing about Padlet. We love Padlet in office. If you haven't met us yet, we love Padlet. But we also know Padlet not all schools can use Padlet. So we want to get some feedback at the end about that. And yeah, thinking about kind of a Q&A feature. If we are able to use, yeah, we're thinking about some different interactive ways where people can provide feedback. We can do that peer review, but knowing that not every student's going to have a way to do.
you know, engaged in the Zoom with just an opportunity where they're not going to another tab somewhere would
Yes.
be
Yeah.
you know, recommendation.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Thanks, Tracy. Anything else? I'm going to keep going, but maybe I'll pause for a second. Does anyone have any questions so far?
And feel free to throw them in the chat too. And I can ask Haley or answer them myself.
So maybe I missed this. Hi, it's Sue.
Hi,
Are they
Sue.
doing like a Google slide presentation and a video or just the video?
So that is up to some extent up to your students. We have a template, a Google Slide template that you can use. They could make their own presentation, but as Jen said, they can also be creative with how they're presenting their information. But it will be a video, you know, it'll end up being a video presentation. So whether that's them, you know, talking through slides or doing something another way that they're sharing that's okay with us. James, yeah.
Which James? There's 2 James.
Oh, there are 2 Jameses. James left.
Yes.
James L.
The-
Sorry, I didn't know there were 2 Jameses.
That's right. Don't call me
Yeah,
Chad.
this is James. I go by Jim, but
Yeah,
I put in chat about the 428. The only reason I'm asking, I mean, we can probably do it, but we're going to be on spring break next week, and so we'd have like a week to get everything together. So I just was wondering if there's any leeway with that date.
Yeah, the reason we tried to push it as far as we felt like we could in timeline. The reason we have it then is that well, 2 reasons. One, we'd love to be able to share the videos with the STEM professionals ahead of time so they could potentially review them and work on their written feedback. So we can get that to you quicker. And the other is on our end, we will be making transcripts for all the videos on the back end so that, we don't want like somebody to do closed captioning and your student's name to be spelled something wonky, right? That AI's come up with. So we will need time to do that. So it is fairly firm, I would say, if you can, as much as you can make that work, that would be great.
Okay, thank you. Thank you. Yeah. And when I meant, I didn't mean like a lot of extra time, but like if we slip by a day, we would still be able to get it in if something happened, do you think, or not?
Yeah, I mean,
Okay.
we're flexible people.
Okay. I'm just asked because I just got done with the Ohio Academy of Science, like science fair submissions, and it's like for April 1st, 5 p.m., deadline. And it was just kind of stressful, is what I'm saying.
Yes, I
Yeah.
understand that. Jen, did
Yeah.
you want to say something?
I just wanted to say, not everyone can slip a day, though.
Yeah. We'll try. Well, we most likely
your
will
best.
make it on 428.
Yeah.
Just for
Yeah.
my peace of mind, so I can sleep maybe.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay. Thank you.
We're not into rejecting people.
Yeah,
We're not.
we won't reject you.
Thanks. Thank you. I appreciate that.
Yeah. So for the videos, we're looking for less than 7 minutes, and just one student project. So it's fine if your project, uses just lots of different types of data or cover different spheres, but we don't want you to try to like put a whole classroom's worth of presentations into this one video, right? So just one student project. We've mentioned our template, and we'll make sure that's in the folder, but we'll link everything to you. And Alicia put the video guidelines and tips in the chat. So that video guideline form has the form in it for submissions. It also has a lot of other tips about creating a video. And then your student presenters will need to have a media release signed. So you signed one when you registered, but the student presenters will also need one signed. Yes, Jessica, if they're over 18, they can sign. There's an adult one and a minor one. So if they're over 18, they can sign their own form. If they are under 18, a parent or guardian will have to sign that form. Those are also in the Google folder, and you will have a place for you to submit those right with your video. If you have other students just attending the event that weren't in the presentation, we don't need their media releases. So just the students that are in the video.
James E, did that answer your question?
Yeah, it did. I mean, I had two students they're related in their measurements, but if you want to have just one student per video, that's fine. I'll have to select which students want to actually do the video. I'm trying to kind of keeping them all consistently working together, but I'll just maybe decide on the 3 best projects that could be turned into a video.
Yeah, and it's fine to have multiple students presenting, right, in one video, but we don't want like a ton of unrelated.
Yeah,
that makes sense.
So that's my question. If I have 2 students that are very related in their research, can I squeeze 2 students that are related into one video? Not the whole class, just 2 students.
Does it answer the same?
They're doing the same type of data measurements. Then they're basically comparing air, surface temperature, comparing that to how basically the migration of snakes movement and also dragonflies. And so it's affecting migration of movement of some, basically the biosphere. So it's all kind of in the same sphere. So are they close enough, or do you want to just keep it separate?
I guess I'd say if their research question, if you could kind of like streamline it into one presentation.
I could definitely
totally
do that.
fine, right? Where they're like, they kind of combine and make
Yeah.
one. And where it's not
Okay.
like, here's one, and then we're going to switch and here's another. But if they're related enough
They're
that it could be like
streamlined together. That's
one
great.
project. Yeah.
That makes total sense, Haley. Thank you so much.
Yeah. James L.
Hi. I just had another question. So I passed out like the NASA media release forms today and asked the students to sign. So I can just upload those like as a PDF file?
Amazing. You're so ahead of the game. Yes, that'd be great.
Okay, thank you.
Yep. We do have a code of conduct. This is something we've kind of at the beginning of usually an in-person event, we could kind of talk through expectations. And so we have this code of conduct, which we'd love for you to review with your students before the event. Either you can do that in the classroom with them, or if it makes sense for you and your students, you can send it home with them to review with their parent or guardian. So we do have two versions. We have like a classroom version, and then we have one that has like a signature line for a parent, if that's something that you would like your students to do. So that's totally up to you, which way you go, but just kind of setting our baseline for the event. So that is also in the folder, and Alicia's doing an awesome job putting everything in the chat too. After the SRS, we would love for you to, we'll have an evaluation survey for educators that we would really, really appreciate your help taking, so that really, it helps us improve our programming. It helps us, learn. We're gonna this year really be learning a lot about a virtual versus an in-person event and what that experience was like. It helps us with our funding. It helps us with a lot of things. So that's super important to us. We'll email that to you after the event. And we actually this year, if you complete the evaluation, you're going to be entered into a raffle for some Globe equipment of your choice. So we hope that will help you really want to click that button and do the evaluation. We also, we want this to be fun and engaging as much as it can be in a virtual environment. So we are going to send you a box. I know you've been getting my emails about your mailing address and stuff. So we're going to send a box with a couple of different activities that your students can do kind of in and around the SRS that hopefully are fun. And we would like to provide a place where you could share photos throughout the week of things that your students are working on with the activities. The one caveat there is if they haven't signed the media release, like we can't see their faces. So your student presenters can be like up there in the photos. Otherwise, we can't, unless you want to send more media releases home. That's a really important thing for NASA, that we're not sharing people's pictures without consent. So we're excited about the engagement boxes, and we're going to be sending them out soon. Jen, I'm going to turn it back over to you.
Okay, so one of the things that Haley mentioned was that, and during that discussion with Tracy, is how can we foster engagement and really have people, that's the big thing about being in person together for the Student Research Symposium, is the conversations that take place, right? So we were thinking, and we are aware that some schools can't use different things. The two things that we have been using a lot, and one is menti.com and the other one is Padlet. So we have 20 people. I know that there's a number of facilitators in here who maybe are not bringing students, but if you could just put in the chat if you can use Menti and Padlet, or maybe it's just a yes or no, or if you could put that in the chat, and then we can just analyze the chat, I think would be the best way for us to do that. I think that was our last slide. So from here on out, we can answer any questions that you have about the Student Research Symposia or submitting the projects, or as you can tell, we are building the schedule right now, as Haley said. So I know you're all anxiously awaiting your schedule to see when you will be presenting, but we are honoring everyone's requests, right? So if you told us that I definitely can't do it that day, you will not be posted for that day. Great. So Noreen says she doesn't believe there's any restrictions for her. All right. So any questions? Feel free to raise your hand or to type in the chat. Shortest meeting ever, right? Noreen.
Question regarding which students can participate in the afternoon activities. If I have a science class that afternoon, could that class potentially participate in the activities?
Yes. So we have no restrictions on who can participate in the activities to view. So even if we did have to have a limit on the number of projects, because we wanted to be done before May. But if there are you have 3 projects, your whole class can watch the presentations, your whole class can watch the career talks, and any kind of other remarks that we may be having. So definitely have as many people attend as you would like.
Thank you.
James L has a question in the chat.
Yes. So the video submission guidelines have a link for uploading the videos. If you're able to upload them to us, that would be awesome, because then we can do the transcript piece and kind of that side of things. And we'd probably play them from a computer just for internet reasons. So if you're able just to like upload their video, that would be awesome. If that would work for you.
And you're fine with like MP4? It's kind of
Yeah,
standard, right?
yep.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Thanks.
Yeah, as long as it plays, like the format, as long as we can play it, we're good.
That's all that matters.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think that answered Jim last was no YouTube links. We don't want them on YouTube at all, do we? Or does it matter?
Yeah, like an actual file would be
Yeah,
ideal,
okay.
I think. Yeah. And so the form accepts, yeah, there'll be a space right there. I mean, yeah, it kind of walks you through. If you have any issues or questions, though, we'll be on and ready to help, especially on the 28th. Tech support.
Just giving you wait time. But we are all here to support you in as you go along with this process and creating the projects. And if you run into any snags, we're happy to assist.